Greetings, all you ghouls, ghosts, and goblins, and welcome to another episode of Friends from Folktales. Put on your pointy hats and your cloaks because today we have a very special guest. And somehow we got her all the way from the Enchanted Forest. And let me tell you, it is very difficult playing phone tag with a gnome tree secretary. So folks, let's give it up for Sylvia Anderson. Wow, in the flesh. And might I say, you just look so, what's the word? Witchy, really, just very abnormal of you. So, we have brought you on the show today because you identify as a witch. And we just can't wait to hear your story and hear all about you and ask you some questions. First, what does being a witch mean to you?
Well, I think being a witch can mean many different things for all people. It doesn't always mean a pointy hat and cloak. Actually, most of the time it doesn't. And it also doesn't mean you have to identify as a woman. Being a witch is what you create. And for me, that's having some sort of power over my life and the decisions I make. It means I have a connection to the natural world around me in every aspect, and that I can own my feminine spirit with confidence. It also means I'm different, and a lot of people do this thing where they just back away and laugh when I tell them I'm a witch. It can be quite the turn off. But honestly, I don't care what people think. I'm a witch. And that's that.
Fascinating. Now, you mentioned something about being connected to the natural world. What exactly does that mean? Are you a tree or something?
Yeah, actually, my name means spirit of the wood in Latin, and I would say this is pretty accurate for me, as I do a lot of my offerings and my spells in the non-enchanted woods behind my house, and most of those involve herbs, flowers, animal hair, crystals, stuff like that. I would definitely consider myself a green witch, and I also am a follower of Wicca, which is essentially a nature-worshipping religion, and it's like we're tree huggers, ecologists, and magic doers all at the same time. And I just realized that all of Earth's processes, whether it's the elements or the seasons or birth, death, and growth, it's all interconnected, and humans are not left out of that. And we witches, we just know that Mother Nature's on top. She's a queen, and to be able to use her creations as a source of our magic is a privilege. All hail Mother Earth.
And, who's your guest we have here?
Oh, pardon me, I forgot. This is Alphaba, my familiar, and familiars are creatures, and really it can be anything, not just a cat. I'm just one of those witches. But anyway, one of my friends has a chameleon familiar. Oh, Gerald, such a sweet soul. But anyway, familiars are animals that witches historically used to complete their evil deeds, and they were so bonded together that some witches would marry their familiars. Oh, but Alphaba and I are not on that level, let me just clarify. But anyway, animals and witches were like two peas in a pod, so sometimes I just keep Alphaba around when I'm doing rituals or spells, just to add a little sprinkling of good luck. But really, nature and witchcraft have always been connected, whether it's voodoo, hoodoo, or medieval witchcraft, even Harry Potter. And so yeah, just plants everywhere. There's plants, and in Harry Potter even, just thinking about that, do you know what a mandrake root is?
No, tell us, right folks? We want to hear about that root.
Well, lucky for you, I brought one of the little guys in, and it turns out these aren't just the little screaming banshees from herbology class in the Chamber of Secrets. They were actually used in ancient medieval times, and they cured anything from headaches to gout and also insanity and to expel the devil. And the roots even look kind of human-like, and they would use these parts in correspondence with the ailment on the human body. It's pretty cool.
Truly incredible. Magical even. Now, speak of the devil. You really did. You mentioned devil. But anyway, a lot of witchcraft is associated with worshiping Satan and doing naughty things with him. What's your take on that?
That's a bunch of gnome whiskers. Oh, pardon my French. But I mean, a lot of that is what we've seen from history, and somehow people got the idea that women would just prance off into the woods and have a bunch of orgies with demons and flounce around naked and cover themselves in baby juice, which maybe that's true, but maybe not. And maybe it was just simply another reason to say that women were ruining the world, and it was just awful if, God forbid, they wanted to have sex or wanted to own land or were fine with being a widow or a prostitute or had a mark on their boob or a few wrinkles on their forehead like all people get when they become old.
That does sound frustrating. I mean, you really just sound frustrated. Do you think it's important to look at the history of witchcraft, and can you apply it to today?
I think it's very important to look at history when we talk about witches. In history, witches in the wilderness were on the same level. Everyone feared the two. Don't go into the woods, Jimmy. You'll get eaten by a witch. Or seduced, because, you know, the woods is where everything bad happens, and witches are inherently bad people. Natural disaster happening? Witchcraft. Woman being too sexy? Witch. Itched your nose? You're a witch. Like, it's just always negative, and of course those folktales don't ever help. Like, come on people, I donate to a charity every month. I was a nanny for 5 years, and I'm in a steady relationship, but I'm still a witch. And today, it's actually like the word bitch, kind of, and the word is starting to be reclaimed. And it's like a feminist movement of sorts, and it means power and leadership and connection, community. It means that I have autonomy over my decisions and my body, and it also means that nature is where I feel the most confident and peaceful, and I owe everything to her. For the person that I am and the work that I do as a witch.
Well, aren't you just witchy and proud? Friends, give it up for Sylvia. Oh, I've truly learned so much. And thank you for coming on the show today. You are just a shining spirit of the wood. And I'm sorry about the whole hat and the cloak thing. I really didn't mean to stereotype, but we'll see you next week, folks, and we're gonna have Frankenstein on our show to talk about his origin story. See you next time.